Welcome back, and thank you for joining with Suwa Sewa Europe YouTube channel. Today we have a special guest whom you may know very well by now. It's none other than world-renowned spiritual leader, cosmic healer, divine healer, or 5D healer Mr. Deegoda Kumara. He is globally recognized via Suwa Sewa non-profit charity organization conducting voluntary spiritual miracle healing services based on loving kindness meditation, free of cost, without charging the patients in any form. Mr. Kumara has the ability and the power to heal hundreds of thousands of people in one go, to cure paralysis within a matter of seconds. Furthermore, greatest challenges in medical sciences have been cured in the blink of an eye at a speed which we have not heard or seen before with the power of his blessings. So today we want to ask him a couple of questions on your behalf in order to get an insight into the spiritual world and spiritual healing. So please join me in welcoming the one and only Mr. Deegoda Kumara. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumara, for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
You are a spiritual leader, and we can already see practically and by example that you actively lead people towards the right path. My question is, if a person who has never been a spiritual person before, but has always been involved in their day-to-day family life, work life, and the so-called social life, wants to take the first step towards the spiritual path, what would you advise such a person?
Well, in this case, it's clear that it is a transition from one life to another, a transition from a non-spiritual material life to a spiritual life. If we take an example, let's say a monkey or a man wants to jump from one tree to another. Then, first of all, they need to release the tree that they are on and then catch the new tree. The key word here is release. One needs to release in order to catch. So, when someone wants to step into a spiritual life, then first and foremost that person needs to release or let go of some things in his current material life. One cannot catch without releasing. It is difficult and simply impossible to step towards a spiritual life without releasing or letting go of certain things in the material life.
True.
But when a person first begin to walk towards a spiritual life, they don't need to let go of everything in this material life. You know that when it comes to priests or monks, they release the material life completely as their intent is to live a complete spiritual life. So there is a turning point here. If the person intends to commit to a complete spiritual life and is not a special person, then that person must release and let go of the material life to a certain extent.
Yes.
There are things that can be released at the start. By doing this, one is able to touch or attract the spiritual life to some level.
So releasing or letting go of some things, at least to an extent, is key here.
The more the release, the more you are able to attract the spiritual life. What needs to be released is greed. I am not saying you need to let go of your family life, the relations, career, or your daily work, but one needs to release these things to a certain level, or else
True.
it will be hard to step towards a spiritual life. The attachment is due to greed harder than ignorance. So the first advice is to either get rid of or to distance oneself from these three things to release this attachment. As long as our mind, consciousness, or the soul is firmly attached to this material world, it will not be able to connect with the spiritual world. So far, that we
Yes.
offer to teach the 4 divine virtues or qualities called metta, karuna, mudita and upekkha. Metta called loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, sympathetic joy, and upekkha means equanimity. When one lives by these 4 divine virtues, it generates a special vibrational frequency which is quite similar to that of the spiritual life or spiritual world. So in order to start or step into a spiritual life, at the first steps we suggest that one reduce attachment, greed, hearted and ignorance, and to live life as per the 4 divine virtues: loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. Then you become ready to release in order to catch. I believe this is a sufficient answer for your question.
Thank you, Mr. Kumara. My next question is, you perform healing miracles that even modern science cannot explain. Many who do not understand or are unable to explain how you do it or how it happens, they easily resort to dismissing it by claiming it's a myth. But in the Western world, with the help of quantum physics, many such unseen powers and energies are being explored, have been confirmed, defined, and explained. Could you please explain to our first-time viewers about your healing powers and the reason behind this noble task?
Spiritual healing means healing someone with spiritual powers. There is a thing called the spiritual world. With spiritual powers, one heals the physical body. That's the most complex part of this. A sickness that can be seen or evidenced physically.
Yes.
Being healed by unseen spiritual powers and skills that's beyond the 5 senses. That's where the problem is, where people begin to claim and reject is saying that it's a
Yes.
myth. It is not ethically correct to reject something simply because one doesn't understand how it happens.
True.
Depending on individual intelligence level and wisdom, one may or may not be able to grasp or understand how certain things happen.
You're right. Most people take the easier route to reject what they cannot comprehend.
One cannot see the spiritual world with physical eyes. Just like how a blind man would not be able to describe colors, the spiritual world and spiritual powers can't be seen or felt unless one has developed wisdom or their third eye.
True.
Those who reject these things as a myth are people who are unable to sense or grasp these things. There are extremely underdeveloped countries where they still don't believe that one can communicate with someone at a distance through a mobile phone. When questioned, they even claim that it's a demon that speaks through it and
Yes.
easy it's a myth. Similar responses are associated to things that people are not able to understand. So what exactly to spiritual healing? You know that we have a physical body which is called the third dimensional body or 3D body. Then there are other bodies beyond this. Some say there are 3 or 4 such bodies. Anyhow, you know when one dies, there's a body which is like an avatar, which is called the astral body or the energy body, where an aura can be seen. This is called the 4th dimensional body or 4D body. There is a body that's beyond that, which is called the 5th dimensional body or 5D body. This is also called the spiritual body. These are the 3 main bodies. This spiritual body is what we use for spiritual healing. There is a reason for it. All the ailments disorders and sicknesses can be seen in the spiritual body as well. For the example, if one cuts their hand in their third body, then it's shown in the 5D body as well. But there is a time gap between the two. At times the 5D body is ahead of the third body, and other times 3D body is ahead of the 5D body. For example, if one is to accidentally cut their hand, then sometimes it is shown in their 5D body a week or two ahead of that, and it can be seen by someone who is able to look into their 5D body. There is how rishis are able to predict things and warn people of things that can happen in the future. This is just an example. We also have predicted such things to people. So this can be seen according to the law. What happens in the third body can be seen in the 5D body. Another example is a fatal disease. But the 5D body is not something made out of matter. It's just energy and is delicate. It's a vibration, a body made of electric frequency with positive and negative particles, electrons, neutrons and protons. In this there are 5 elements: earth, water, fire and space. However, all these 5 elements are present and active in a third body, and then in a 4D body or astral body, the earth and water elements are hardly present, and in the 5D body it's reduced even further and the body becomes extremely delicate. In the 5D body there is only energy. It's an energy body. This also gets scattered and mixed with the universe once a person attains nirvana. So in the 5D body, an ailment or sickness is shown as a lack or a surplus of electrons or a change in them. We call it a lack of energy or an energy blocks. So in such a situation, energy from someone with higher energy or a divine being or a person or a rishi where divine power is activated within them can be transmitted to where the lack is and can repair or correct the third body. As time and space is not relevant to this 5D body.
Oh, okay. So no matter where you are, once you correct any shortcomings in the 5D body, it is also reflected on the 3D body. Amazing.
The person who's sick doesn't have to be physically present there. So it doesn't matter where the person is, as they are somewhere in the universe. So this spiritual body can be called the universal body as well, as it can be touched from anywhere in the universe. When the person corrects the 5D body, it reflects or happens in the third body as well. It's a law in the spiritual world. What happens in the 5D body happens in the third body and vice versa. That's how the healing happens. When we heal the 5D body, and third body heals as well. And now there's a question as to why it doesn't happen to everyone. There are prerequisites for this to happen. Just like when someone is getting a job appointment, there are prerequisites such as the person needs to pass the relevant exam, even though they know the persons at the authority well. If the exam was failed, then it will not happen. Similarly, if some don't have the prerequisite in order to grasp or accept this, then it will not happen. It could be due to karma and other such reasons, in short. So this is what we refer to as spiritual healing. This is not energy healing. This is not done by simulating the chakras, etc. We have seen how this has been defined and explained incorrectly in erroneous, misleading ways, which is wrong. There is not Reiki healing either. Spiritual healing, quantum healing or cosmic healing is the healing method in the spiritual world. For this, there are divine channels in the spiritual world that we use. There are 108 key divine channels. These are energy beams. A goddess as well is referred to as energy or Shakti Mata. But today I will not go that deeper in the subject. Since I mentioned you can explore this yourself. Then you also ask in the same question the reason for performing such a noble task. Reason is to perform miracles. People pay attention towards this path only when you perform miracles. So what's the need for their attention? If not, they will not listen. People listen to Lord Jesus because he performed miracles. Because Lord Buddha performed miracles, Lord Buddha was able to give his first sermon to the 5 ascetics.
Yes.
Similarly, I use healing as a miracle. There were reasons for me to choose this as a miracle. I also could have chosen other miracles like manifesting things or going unseen, etc. I chose healing as a miracle as there is no doubt or suspicion in this, since there are 2 people involved in it. If I manifested something as a miracle, one could say that I didn't manifest but was hiding it.
True.
And they showed it. Just as how they accused Satya Sri Sai Baba, Swami Sai Baba. But when you heal someone, then there's evidence. The family and everyone who were aware. On the other hand, healing is a good deed, a social service, and can collect good karma than just manifesting something.
True.
Therefore, I use healing powers as my miracle. With this, what I preach is that all of us have come here from a Brahma Loka, or we all are higher beings who are here from another planet, another plane. My message is to awaken that higher spirit within you and to tell you that we can make this materialistic world heaven on earth. For that, everyone has the right qualifications and are able to, but they are hiding or suppressing their higher side. So the purpose of my sermon are to open this side of everyone to awaken that within them. And my miracles are a way of gathering people for the sermon. I believe this explains.
Amazing and fascinating. Thank you for that great explanation. My third and last question for today is about the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy. This topic is either new to many of our viewers or they have a misconception about it due to so many misleading information that are currently out there. So, could you please enlighten us on this topic and the significance of these 2 energies, physically as well as spiritually?
Your question is about a topic that's a bit complicated. Divine masculine energy and divine feminine energy. If you remove the word divine from it, then it is simply masculine energy and feminine energy of which you are aware. There are energies related to males and females accordingly.
Yes.
They are totally different, but when they come together, one creates new life. This we all know. These 2 energies are like a bottle and its cap. 2 complete different things, but when they come together, completely new thing
Yes.
is created. These are referred to as positive and negative as well. But your question is about the divine masculine and divine feminine energies and its significance. There are various opinions on this. There is also a scientific perspective and a spiritual perspective. If we take the spiritual perspective, we all know that there is a creative life force energy that is spread out in the entire universe. This is called the universal energy, universal intelligence. This energy is split into two energies as divine masculine energy and divine feminine energy. I believe the most suitable term for this divine masculine energy is divine masculine power.
Okay.
But the term divine feminine energy is correct. There is a reason for it. The universal energy is operated in three energy lines: energy, power and knowledge. Let's just keep knowledge aside for the moment. And then there is power and energy. You may have heard something called Shiva Shakti. There are also images associated with it. This is called power. The masculine nature, Lord Shiva, is also called Mahapurusha or the great masculine. The supreme status Brahman is called Mahapurusha or the great masculine. Then there is a Shakti or energy. You may have seen images of Shakti Mata or goddess Kali or Parvati Mata as the consort of Lord Shiva. There are many other names used as well. So it is called Shiva Shakti. Shakti means energy. Here it refers to the feminine energy. So what exactly is represented by Shiva Shakti? These are the two forces responsible for the existence of the universe. The spiritual world is a result of these two forces coming together. The spiritual world was created by these two forces. These are not two beings, but these forces, if needed, can somehow take up the image of a being. Therefore, images are associated with these forces.
So the divine masculine power and divine feminine energy is basically one and may take the form or the image of a being when required.
This is something one needs to understand with wisdom. So there is a power and an energy. There is a power, that's an authority in the universe. Then there is an energy that operates in the universe. When we say the creative life force energy, there is power and energy in it. This is operated within us as well. This is what we used to heal in our healing programs. So there's universal energy and there's universal power. Many consider this as one force. If we take an example, electricity is energy. With energy we can start and make a machine work through which power can be generated. Similarly, one can amplify the other. So if you start the machine and fix a dynamo or generator to it, electricity can be generated once again. Similarly, these two are two forces that are connected but not one, and are also not two. This needs to be understood clearly. It is neither one nor two different things. This is the nature of these two forces, but these two have two different duties: masculinity and femininity. We consider the masculine power as paternal and the feminine energy as maternal. Therefore, we use the term Mata, mother, Kali Mata, Shakti Mata, when referring to the divine feminine energy. Similarly, we use the terms our Father, God, the Father to refer to divine masculine power. The power who protects us and who gave us life is the divine masculine power. The energy who nourished and nurtured us is the divine feminine energy. Don't we have both these forces operating through us today? Please think as beings of the universe and not as a person in a family. So there's a force that created us, and that force looks after our protection and secure our future just as Father does, and we call it divine masculine force. Then there is an energy that cares, nourishes and nurtures us just as a mother does, and we call it Mata or divine feminine energy. This is spiritual, more significant than physically. The importance of this is by working with these energies with awareness and focus, we can benefit from it. That's why there is Father according to some religions. It's a good thing to thank and be grateful, as we all know the benefits of being grateful. Similarly, we are close with the mother. We spend our lives being nurtured by the mother. We have her blood running through our veins. We have the divine feminine energy operating within us. You can explore these and get a further understanding of them, and I believe you have now a good understanding of this topic. I am not a native English speaker, so I apologize for any mistakes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumara, for your valuable time and for this incredible knowledge that you shared with us. We look forward to seeing you soon again for another Q&A.
May the Noble Triple Gem and God's loving blessings be with you. Thank you.